By now you all have got an idea what agriculture deals with. In this, the video which was shown earlier, it describes with two differently prospects of agriculture, wherein at one side there is totally mechanized. The entire body is, the processes what are going on are based on machine based, and whereas right from procurement of milk, there involve a lot of practices. So I just wanted to know, like, agriculture means what sort of picture you have in your minds, like. It is generally what, when I was introduced to agriculture, people said, "Matin kon hath ghalo," something like that. Matin hath ghal. Even some people argued by saying, "Kai mewana munu tu agriculture kele," sort of like that thing. That do exist everywhere in the world, but what's actually your picture in your mind like when it comes to agriculture? That's what I'll like to begin with. Yes. Agriculture जेन्ना म्हणटा ताजे तकलेन कितें येता?
I get the idea of all the start from the plowing on the field and the sowing of seeds.
Have you seen it? Witnessed?
No.
You have in one of our survey, okay, we asked those kids, where do we get vegetables from? I was surprised to know that they said supermarket. So this is also the situation in India, like especially in Mumbai, like cities. I don't want to criticize by the name, but yeah, I've literally witnessed that the children are saying we get vegetables from supermarkets. So that's another thing, another part of this whole scenario. But that's also the thing. I'll write to quote some few of the words of George Washington. He said, "Agriculture is the most helpful, most useful, and most noblest employment of the man." These are not my words; these are his words. So I like to begin my presentation with these words. So the topic for the day is Voyage of Agriculture Engineering. Since I'm recently passed out, I haven't done much more innovation, or maybe I haven't have that much deep knowledge about that particular field, because agriculture itself is a vast field. It deals with different spectrums, not peculiar or not specified to certain like forestry or anything. It's just a vast field. Wherever you find yourself, you'll find somewhere around there you can link it with agriculture or somewhat like that. Even we have refrigeration as a part of agriculture, wherein we try to deal with the temperature of the commodity, or the temperature which is like ambient for human being to deal with the thing. That are the different prospects, but you can't relate how agriculture or agricultural education can relate to your day-to-day life. This I found in Wikipedia. Like, these are Egyptian people trying to do agriculture, and the picture that is pasted, that is basically the portrait what we had been like thought right from the beginning. Like, agriculture means you have to work with plow, you have to work with animals, you have to work hard, and that too for very little amount. Because I personally, we had a farm, we had an orchard, not a farm. Then at some point of time we had also to sell it. So I know how it feels like having your own farm and selling. So this is what the portrait what our ancestors or maybe our grandfathers they have portrayed amongst us. It's not their fault actually. They didn't manage it properly. So they ultimately tend to be in loss. So that loss they transferred to the next generation by saying it is very hard task or very skillful task, and it will not end you in like growing up yourself. So please don't do agriculture, do anything else, but don't get into this field, because this will keep you lagging behind rather than progressing. So that was the type of perception what was created in my mind when I was born. And I won't exaggerate, but the place where I lived, across 2 to 3 kilometers, there was not a single house. There was only one family, that too on the coast of a river. We were there, and all the area beside that was full of farm or plants. And now where I'm living, I don't know. I just morning when you get up, you get to hear those horns till evening you sleep. Like right from the river side to this, that was a transformation. But this transformation is like you won't believe, like the type of the environment, the type of joy you can get going at your place, enjoying. That's totally missing nowadays, because even that can create a stress, maybe, but it's a different experience altogether. Being at your place, being with the trees, being with the grass, being with farm, like walking in the farm without sleepers. That's a totally different experience altogether. Having your own mangoes, having growing your own vegetables in your backyard. That was my project altogether some point of time in the final year, where I was growing vegetables in this irrigation pipes. Means the pipes were after some years, for service and other purpose, they remove those pipes, this internal pipe. So I was growing vegetables on those pipes, and it was like almost 50 to 60% successful, because of the substrate what we had used there, we got a lot of fungus. So right from agriculture we shifted to material sciences. From there we choose a substrate. From there we shifted to microbiology for the substrate. Then again we went for irrigation, slopes. Then again we shifted to civil engineering. Then we had to create an artificial environment within the place we had. So we again shifted to something like called as environmental engineering. So we tried to manipulate with the environment of the plant growing body, and finally at the end of the day we able to achieve what we wanted to. So this agriculture is not something like you will say this pure physics, mechanical में जाना है तो machine के साथ खेलो, electrical में जाना है तो wires. It's nothing like that. It's like totally a subject beyond, like even I can't think. So rather than telling all this, and just have an overview of what I got to know in this voyage, so that I can link my talk with the title of the today's talk, that is Voyage of Agriculture Engineering. Next. Or maybe this may be sort of picture you had about agriculture in your life. Wherein this first gentleman is trying to add urea to the rice farm, and he is adding, this fogging this for pest infestation. That gentleman is plowing and these ladies are transplanting. This operation you can see basically at the beginning of the monsoon, wherein if you go along Konkani and that side, these people transplant those rice seedlings. Next. And this is also another probably the dirtiest picture, or I'll say, of agriculture nowadays. Almost in India, every year more than 200 crores are wasted due to improper management of the agricultural commodity. Forgot about the weight and everything. This 200 crores are been listed in the statistics, but somewhere around this number is also a harsh picture to show, wherein in a country where a person is not able to get a food, he is not certain to get a food of one time, and wherein we are wasting such a commodity. Here in this second picture, you will see this grain storage structures are inefficient or improper managed. Because of that, there are losses. Here in these two pictures are totally contrasting with these total pictures, because this is a drought situation, and somewhere here there is improper management of water. That's why this is a corn and this has gone wasted. So agriculture is like have to deal with all these probabilities and this thing. Last year in Madhya Pradesh, they had produced ample amount of onion, but at the time of as the monsoon started, they didn't find any storage structures. They invited people to purchase onion at the rate of 1 rupee per kg, but still people refused to purchase it even at 50 paisa. So all that entire onion which was supposed to be there in the storage structure was lying outside in the rain, getting rotten. Same way, if you check the onion rates today's date, it is 35 to 40 rupees per kg. So somewhere, and onion is something like if you even keep it for 2-3 months, just at a corner of your floor, it will be like in the usable form even after that, because onion needs dry environment. Onion, garlic, potato, it needs to be kept dry, and even if it was kept somewhere where there is ample amount of dryness, it would have the wastage of onion would have been avoided. But that was the situation in MP. Whereas contrasting to that, in this year, everywhere I was traveling to Nasik, and I literally found that people are not ready to purchase onion at the rate of 250 rupees per quintal. 250 rupees per quintal. These farmers, they brought down the rate at 250 rupees per quintal.
So what's the quintal?
100 kg.
Okay.
250 rupees. But still these people were not ready to buy it, because they were saying that it's too high, and that same person who purchases this thing was somewhere associated, and these people are selling this an onion at the rate of 40 to 50 rupees per kg in supermarkets with a good branding, labeling. These are the proof. Actually, I witnessed it. That's why I thought I'll like to just keep like almost let you know that these are the harsh cases. At least what I have experienced, because the stats and all that which government and all those people display, that can be manipulated. But what I have seen, that can be, it was a totally harsh picture. And even after keeping those lots of onion for 3-4 days, the purchaser is not ready to purchase, and they are like treated so harshly. These people, I can't tell you. Like even they are not allowed to bargain for 10-50 rupees. So for production of one quintal of onion, they might be hardly expending about some 3,000 to 4,000 rupees without human efforts. And they are paid 250 rupees. Even they are like not ready to pay that 250 rupees. That is so harsh condition of the people in India, wherein if you go to any supermarkets, we keen to purchase anything beyond 1k or 2k. We don't hesitate. But when it comes to the most important commodity, food, why even bargain? Nowadays they are saying that there is a lot of adulterated food in the market, wherein people are spraying lots of pesticide and all this thing. But if we see the culture, what we had been to, like if you even go with Banastari and all, in that they are growing organic since years, not one day or 2 days. But same organic, if you take in Pune market, they'll charge you almost double or triple the rate what we get in today's market rate. Why? How come that difference comes? Next. This gentleman was pioneer to deal with this dwarf variety and high yielding varieties of wheat. At some point of time, even America was in clashes wherein due to World War and all, they had lost a lot of money and they wanted to feed their people. So what this gentleman did, he is called the father of Green Revolution, Dr. Norman Borlaug. So he, with the trial and experiment, with crossbreeding and all those things, he selected certain varieties of wheat which could produce very high amount of wheat in a unit area. That's why he is known as the father of Green Revolution. George Washington Carver. At some point of time, USA was in crisis, not because of the food availability, but there was some other reason, and that was single nutrition deficiency, and that was somewhere related to their soil, which couldn't yield that much. That was earlier the soil was potent to. So this gentleman, he introduced a crop in that entire thing. That was peanuts. So, but these people were like in the USA, they were not ready to accept this crop because they thought it's of no use introducing peanuts in there. So this gentleman alone founded 200 uses of peanuts. And if you segregate his name lies like George Washington and Carver. The George Washington this gentleman named himself as George Washington based on the city where he was living in, and Carver was the owner of the slave. From his origin, from his picture you can figure out his African origin. The person who brought him from Africa was Carver. So that if he can do it, I think if he can do it, that any person who has enough potential or enough passion for any field or anything can make a lot of difference in today's world. He being a slave, if he can find out such many things, he was not also some good educated. He was just a botanist. He was just a botanist who could make a lot of difference. And lot of industries, food industries, are working in USA just because of this one gentleman. He is father of Indian Green Revolution. That is his MS Swaminathan. He grew at the time of in 1960s, India were in crisis of food supplies. So this gentleman introduced some varieties of rice and wheat together, which were supported with lot of use of fertilizers. At that point of time, the use of fertilizer wasn't common in day-to-day practices. So he integrated these two things together. But today, what farmer has a perception that if you don't put fertilizer to the soil, it won't yield. So the misconception actually started after the Green Revolution happened in 1961-63. That was a period of Green Revolution in India, where I think 2-3 varieties of wheat and rice were introduced, and that's why he was a pioneer in introducing those varieties. Actually, it was not introduction as such; it was just selection of those high-yielding varieties. Because not these varieties, like looking for those varieties which are high-yielding, wasn't a regular process then. But now it has happened, like due to the research and all. They try to find the crops which yield very high in very less space. So he was one of the pioneers in introducing all these things. Next. Jagdish Chandra Bose, an Indian scientist who found life in plants. I won't extend here, because if you try to read anything about him, you'll get a good content wherein he has described the way the plant respire, and that he has recorded. It's a beautiful story actually. I can give an entire lecture based on whatever he's finding in the world. I just keep it. Virji Korean, the father of white revolution in India, or maybe you may be knowing him because of Amul. He is the social entrepreneur then, who revolutionized the way how we look at the things when it comes to dairy. India may be not the first ranker in milk production now, but then because of this one gentleman's initiative, there was a chain developed, which is called as Anand chain. That is different. Anand chain. That entire model is being replicated now for getting more milk. Next.
It's called Arvind Gauns.
Yeah, some Anand chain or something. It's a model actually,
It's like how you collect them.
Yes, like from groceries.
So it happened in Anand, I guess.
Yes.
For the first time.
Yes. This gentleman had selected a variety of rice which we normally consume in our day-to-day life. If you had been to any supermarket, there will be a variety of rice with HMT or something, HMT Sortex, HMT. This gentleman selected that variety, high-yielding variety, but some universities or some other bodies tried to take his right. So Sushti Foundation and National Innovation Foundation, these both two people collaborated with him to like get those red back from that particular institution. He can't even barely able to read, or even he can't even sign. But in India nowadays, innovations are coming from these people. Like we have a lot of engineers, we have a lot of brain train going all the way. What?
Pseudo engineers.
Yeah, brain train going all the way, traveling from India to America, USA, and the innovation part has been, that responsibility has been taken by a farmer. Uddham Bharti, he has about 140 innovations at his own names. He is a dropout, by the way.
Somewhere in
Assam.
Assam.
He is based in Assam. So, just using a normal, like simple principle of centrifugal force, he made this machine. Yeah. And actually, it is not deseller. It's the nuts. The small nuts are called as aerials. It is aerial separator in technical terms. What he just did, he just put an obstruction and rotating disc. That rotating disc will rotate the entire pomegranate, and due to that obstruction, it will hit again and again, and these seeds are getting separated. Very simple to think. Same way he replicated the same model for garlic also. Peeling garlic is not an easy task. You must actually try how much pain it takes for peeling one single clove of garlic. Same way, actually areca nut processing is a very lengthy process wherein after harvesting you have to first dry it for almost 50 to 60
You
days.
have to peel it, you have to dry it,
Yeah,
and then you have to, there's an oven for it.
Yeah, no, in normal cases we don't prefer oven, but when it is harvested, it is dried for at least 50 to 60 days till it get mature. But there is not sure that it is not certain that the fruit inside will be mature. It can be tender. So what he did, he segregated the entire process into two, wherein if we damage the entire outer kernel of that areca nut, it will allow air to flow in. So that will rather accelerate the process of peeling those areca nuts from that shell. So this was the idea what he introduced. Again, he has used centrifugal and normal Archimedes screw. Not a great thing. Simple thing, but in an innovative way. Next. This field, agriculture. We have heard many times people saying, as you sow, so you reap. But here we actually able to see whatever we are sowing, whatever we are planning, whatever we are doing, we can see the fruits. In many of the sciences, what we are dealing with nowadays, telecommunication, electronics, somewhere we are not getting the desired thing, or even the invention of something like post-its, the glue of post-its, which was happened to be an accidental invention. But here somewhere what you are actually sowing, if it is a good variety of rice or any potted plant, if it belongs to a good family, it will give you a good, provided you take care. This phenomena is not common in any field, like electronics and all. It's not common, but here you can actually see what's happening. The growth, the flowering. Even if you are coding, we are not able to see the program or algorithm which is running behind the compiler. But here you can actually see. Just Dada Saib Phalke, he made a first film that was just growing off a peanut plant. Sorry, peanut or chana or something.
Chana.
He made a film over it, and which happened to be very popular as then. And from there, the entire industry changed, revolutionized. But the origin thing was he captured that one plant. That might have made a difference, but a plant. Next. Have you seen agriculture in this way?
TV.
In DSL? TV?
No, I've seen like this in on the TV, not here.
Okay. This is in Pune. This is HTC, Horticulture Training Center, on this Bombay Pune highway. Like high class hydroponics, and here there is very less human intervention, wherein the entire right from the lighting to irrigation is being supplied by all automated process. Everything like ventilation, shade, temperature, watering, even type of the nutrient requirement that has been already been done with an algorithm. I don't know what's that, but this is automated. So this is if you see my previous slides, I have mentioned the dark sides first, then I mentioned about the innovators, and now I'm actually trying to show you what are the opportunities for you all. Like if we went to if we are gone ahead to taking up agriculture in any prospect, so these are the opportunities wherein we can use our skills. Like not necessarily being an agriculture, you have to be an agriculture engineer. Being an electrical engineer, you can contribute in a lot of different way. The upcoming slides will you'll get a better idea. Being a computer engineer, you can contribute in some different way. But there is a lot of scope if you have a broad vision towards agriculture. Like it can make you an overnight fame. Next, drones. This is not in India, but this picture was in India, somewhere in Gujarat, wherein they were trying to take survey of that entire planted area for deficiency of some certain chemical or something. They were doing using this drone. And in USA, the spraying of insecticide up to that particular concentration that has been automated using these drones. Like if the drone will first scan that entire swath. Along the swath, if he is finding the deficiency at the particular place, he will go towards that, and then only he will spray. This is an entirely automated process, and again an opportunity for you all to deal with it. An MIT student had visited the Tata campus where I was. He was dealing with the use of drones in agriculture. Like his research was somewhere height and the weight whatever the drone is carrying for the agriculture purpose, and how height will actually play a role wherein when it comes to image acquisition, not it come to science, because we know that rho GH, as the height increases, the pressure decreases, and the drone are more susceptible to the wind, and similarly that relation PV is equal to nRT, the T increases, that sort of thing. But he was winning with the image acquisition, because as you even go 1 feet above, you get a different point of view when it comes to image acquisition for your survey. So he was trying to generalize a sort of constant wherein that can be applied if the reading has been taken with this particular height. Next, soil erosion. Maybe all have been aware that top 1 meter soil is cultivable, and the rest are all dark rocks and all there, which cultivation is not possible. If we are not conserving this topsoil, then where will the farmers grow? Or probably the deteriorating quality of soil which we are facing nowadays, how that can be restored? How soil that every year thousands of metric tons of soil has been washed out in the ocean. How that can be saved? So it is also a challenge for the future engineers how to deal with it. Not necessarily you have to be in agriculture. You can be this entire syllabus what we had in our curriculum was similar to that what civil engineers are studying. But we are studying in a prospect of how we can implement this in our farm. So if you had been to Konkani, that side, they have made us nice steps. On those steps, they are called as terraces. They are cultivating rice. So that is another form of control measures that has been taken, but that measure has been very much refined in due course of time. But those measures were still existing then, and they are still exist now, and probably they will still exist. this practice is very much common in USA, where they dust, they spray, they apply water, anything. They just hire this at a one go. But that has created a lot of pollution in USA. That's why now they are trying to revolutionize the practices. So here in agriculture, avionics also is playing a role. Next. So this was a recent image taken by Cartosat 2 C-38 launch. This is ISRO's Cartosat 2. The green patches, what you are able to see, are the fields. Whereas, can you figure out what are these red dots are? And I'll specify it is a false color composite, not a true color composite. But I'll also tell you that these green things are field, demarcated field.
Is there water?
No,
Uncultivated.
no.
Really, it's right on the boundaries of some of the fields.
These are forest. These are forest or every object emits a different type of spectrum. Every tree has a different type of spectrum. So see, even if this is a living entity, this is also a living entity, but this don't match that threshold frequency. This is false color composite, wherein RGB are replaced with NIR, blue and green band. This is not a single band image. This is a 3-band image. That's why it's called as multispectral. This image consists of NIR band, means the sensor which captures the frequency within the NIR range, in the blue range and in the green range. Boom. This is also space science, and rather that can be implemented for agriculture. I had worked on this for rice area mapping across Bardhaman district in West Bengal, and for grapes in Nasik. So we were actually processing these images in the time of my internship. Next, food storage. I mentioned this issue earlier also. Food storage has been a great issue because nowadays there is a lot of production, but there is not a storage area. Many grains, even if anyone is going to a village and all, that ration thing, you will actually see how much the grain is wasted by mite infestation or maybe rodents, rats. They're not properly utilizing the space, plus they are gifting the customers with inborn diseases or maybe unhealthy commodity. So we have that as a challenge in the future, how we can look over that thing, because FDI can't provide storage structure in every village or maybe every place where the source is existing, like from where the rice or maybe wheat. But there can be some management practices which can be done. Like earlier we used to keep dry leaves of neem in the rice so that it cannot be manifested by those barad. So those were at a very small scale, but we have to magnify it to such a larger scale wherein we can store grains in metric tons, not just tons, in metric tons. Next. Renewable energy. Renewable energy and agriculture, it might be little in conflict, like how these two places are linked. But a lot of biomass is being generated on daily basis in agriculture, like cow dung or maybe that hay which is being burned in. That issue was there in North India. So that hay can be converted into biogas, or maybe into briquettes, or maybe into briquettes. Briquettes can be another alternative for firewoods, because briquettes has high calorific value. So that can, and it emits very less smoke. So that can be another alternative for wood, or maybe for boilers. Briquettes. Actually, whatever agriculture waste is there, it is crushed first, and using some binding material like sawdust or maybe cow dung, these people are forged into the small hollow pipes. So they come out as a small cylinders. Those cylinders are called as briquettes. Like you have to press it, like how oil extraction process take place, and you get those neem cakes or those cakes, something like that. This cake has high calorific value, and as it is porous, so it also has this high, very less smoke, and it can burn very efficiently when it compares to another wood and all. Again, solar, using solar application for lifting water from the well, that can be also like a challenge in future, because nowadays if you want to lift the water, you need a very big panels for lifting very less discharge, and that is not like affordable.
Mills can be used, right?
But mills cannot be used everywhere, right?
Yeah.
That is a challenge. That itself is a challenge.
Yeah.
How much water you lift with windmills?
Not windmills. Like you put a large wheel, which is
Persian wheel.
Yeah.
How much water you lift?
And
You can't lift
you
much
put it
water.
on the river as the flow.
Yeah, but that also you have to cut the cut the direction of the flow, and then up. It's not certain that you will be able to get certain amount of discharge. I am talking about regular irrigation at a regular point of time at a regular amount. You are whatever your point is correct, but that will get that will be variable. That will be variable, right? Because today, if you are in a mood, you will spin the Persian wheel for 60 times. Tomorrow, you are not in a mood, you will move hardly 10
You
20
have to
times.
move the flow of the river.
But it can't lift
It
water.
can't lift water, right?
You attach buckets.
Yeah,
It
but
can't.
it has to go against gravity. How will you do it? Something has to be working
Basically,
against
no.
gravity.
There is a formula: rho, g, and h. Density will be same. Acceleration due to gravity will be same. But what that matter is height. For getting height from the flowing water and to lifting it there, their velocity and head that interacts, and there you have to alter either velocity or head. What will compromise? You are already compromising the velocity to get head, so you can't go beyond that velocity. For that, you have to raise the speed of the entire flow, which is not possible when it comes to river. So there is a limited application for lifting water when it comes to river flow. That's why there is another concept that is called as this lift irrigation, that we'll discuss some other time. Next, food processing. Nowadays, even if you get something open in the market, you would rather bargain than getting something packed. Packaging industry is rather growing just because of food processing industry.
I think the food in the market, every food in the market is processed.
Yeah,
Almost.
Yeah.
Every food,
yeah.
even fruits.
I went to this Vasco in some eminent hotel. Okay, they were charging 525 rupees for 250 grams of akrod, walnut. You know, right from normal walnuts and this normal, what was the difference? Any guesses? No.
Branded.
In both the cases, shell were removed. There was a difference of 200 rupees.
Branded.
No. Both were sold by the same person.
Color.
No. They just removed the air from that entire space and vacuum packed. Vacuum packed has more shelf life comparatively normal ones.
But then walnuts are,
No, vacuum packed.
yeah,
It's better. So
It's better.
That's another thing.
That's why in chips and all they feel nitrogen.
yeah, I know, but see, walnuts are not that perishable.
But they are selling.
Yeah,
They are selling.
it's a
Yeah, it's like an AC company making,
decimal points.
decimal points ka temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is a difference of 150 to 200 rupees with this and this. Quality is same, but that makes a difference.
That you get less air.
I'll just
As a customer, you shouldn't get food.
no, I'll just try to address an innovative approach what a gentleman in Kerala did. See, generally in abroad countries, they prefer a certain quantity in certain grades, like apple, mangoes. They have some. They mostly follow European Union rules, but when it comes to chili or black pepper, what may be the criteria? They can't find pesticides. like in that content because of that some chemical content. So they weren't able to find the pesticide if at all it is applied. So what this gentleman did, he introduced a solvent, alcohol. He extracted all those punginess from that chili, and according to that grade, he started selling it. Because the essence of chili lies in the essence oils, which is present in the flake and on that inner part of the skin. So he managed it so well that he was able to extract the entire punginess of that chili and concentrate it within a small bottle and sell it that bottle as a graded product. Like if you want
Chili
insert,
oil?
no, it's not chili oil. That is called oleoresins. Oleoresin. It was first experimented in black pepper, then now they have experimented in the, he's selling it. So you get certain commodity in certain standard, like in certain things, and they started accepting, like got worldwide acceptance. So right, just with a different prospect, he got he's a billionaire now. I'll tell you, he's Jacobson, C. Jacob. You can Google it. Like this was the type of the different things what we can do. Even nowadays we can implement this for fish as well. Dry freezing. Like when we have there are two types of water in food commodity. That is attached water, separable, which can be separated, and that is undetachable water, which cannot be separated. So what this freeze drying involves is whatever water which has been detachable, they remove all that water. So that commodity which is present is dry, like a papad.
And it shrinks.
Yeah, it shrinks and it is dry. And whenever you put it back into water, it gains its shape. It also gains its texture. But the aroma is issue. But it also gains. But main success was that it gains its texture. It doesn't lose its texture. So that can be also an opportunity for young engineers to deal with. Next. Of course, biotechnology. This is a subject you can't avoid. You can alter anything, like any variety with crossing with any other variety to find the best variety. Nowadays, I had been to one research institute where they were dealing with the salinity resistant crop when it comes to rice. So that is very much necessary nowadays because of the accumulation of salts. So that can be also a challenge, like how to develop that salinity resistant crop, or how can we develop a crop which can be grown anywhere.
Japan or Korea has recently been able to do it. So there is the newspaper 2 days ago. They were able to grow rice in salt water.
Okay, but many this is salty areas like I don't know, but they are growing in India also in West Bengal. But I don't know the index of salinity because salinity is basically measured in agriculture by electrical conductivity, and I'm not like having a thorough knowledge of it, so I can't. But it is grown in India also, but I don't know at what scale. Next, water conservation. Water conservation is actually an issue what we are also facing in our day-to-day lives, and how it is very linked with agriculture because certain quality of water what we can tolerate, plants can't tolerate. Even certain like some water. There are some water hit this phobic crops like this in the evening Raj mentioned what passion fruit or dragon fruit. If that fruit get even 1 centimeter excess water or even weight, the entire crop is collapsed. So we need to take it as a challenge, like how efficiently we can use water, like available water for whatever practices we are doing in. Same time, we are also able to end up conserving a lot of water. Like we are not deteriorating the resources. Like, since I saw a video wherein in Bangalore they just pulling out the groundwater and they are not concerned about the recharging. This must not happen. because if groundwater level get if it get replenished, that day will be a critical day, and probably entire vegetation process will dry up, and there we can see as beautiful place as it was, and it may be a next Rajasthan. It can be a next Rajasthan if we haphazardly use the groundwater and we are not planning for the recharge. If we see the Raigans in the model, he hardly got 300 to 400 mm annual rainfall, which we are getting in thousands. But yet that village, due to the efforts of one person, Anna Hazare, he would, along with all the villagers, now that village has ample amount of water and they took across all seasons. That was not his own efforts and not his own technology also. He just adopted the model, but the work of extension was done by him. Very innovative ways. And this was my work when I was dealing with drought severity index. Like this red patch, red means severe and blue is like not like normal condition. Here this was the what I was talking about. This is like collaboration of 2-3 indices. One is normal difference vegetative index, and then this soil, like I'll rather explain you in easy terms. One was the first challenge was to find the vegetation. Like I in the previously shown, there only the vegetation was highlighted, not the fields. So we first used that image, which was superimposed on the stress, water level stress which was there in that vegetation, and along with that we just used the overlaid the net available precipitation. Like after removing evapotranspiration, what is the net precipitation available? Like if there was rain and if there was even evapotranspiration, there will be some net storage of water. Use that to find the drought maps. Next. So this was done for finding the adulteration of chemicals in the grapes. So this was the experimental setup what I was dealing with. So here we were capturing the images of this using phone as well as that hyperspectrometer, and we were trying to analyze like how much we'll able to like find the pesticide or something. This was one model. This was just a setup of it. Next. This was the first fascination session which was held in Central Library. Can you figure out where I stand?
It's Prajwal.
Yeah. That guy here, I don't know what I was trying to figure out at that time. So this was basically the journey when a person was standing there and now I'm standing here. It's not just, it was a like very beautiful journey, but it actually started from there, where I was actually trying to figure out what I should do after my 12th. And I had got really bad score, no doubt. But from there I'm here. So this was actually the voyage, which I earlier mentioned in my title. Next. After getting into it, I was not much interested with the coursework because coursework was the normal coursework was adopted from like it's not adopted actually. It was basically the entire mechanical engineering part. So at the end of first semester, I was trying to figure out how 4-bar link mechanism works, which is again a third semester subject for mechanical engineering, theory of machines. So with manipulation and all those things, we somewhere ended over here. This was the machine which Raj was talking about initially. We had been to like different places with this because of this machine. This is a multi-crop harvester, and till date there is not any multi-crop harvester which can be used as it is, or with some manipulation you can use it for different spectrum of crops. This can be also used for oilseed crop, this can be also used for grain crop, this can be also used for sunflower harvesting and all.
So what does it do exactly? There's something that cuts the crop, right?
Yeah.
And then there's, what does the wheel do? The back one, the black.
This
Yeah,
one?
that one. Yeah.
Actually these are called as cage wheels. This actually increases the torque. And if at all, if it is, there is some moisture in the field patches, so it won't drag the wheel inside, rather it will help to move on. There is nothing related with this like wheel and this. This is only for stability.
This is your invention.
Not invention, it's just, this is our design.
Yeah, so why not manufacture it?
Nowadays, it is easy to say, but I need to work out a lot of work because I need to make it stable. Because see, these pegs, this are making it not very stable. And again, people are preferring more into mechanized, like they don't want to involve energy in wasting driving this hand. So I'm trying to use some Viper motors, like permanent combination. And along with that, I'm trying to use a battery embedded into it so that I can counter the weight of the entire motor, vibrations created by that motor, by that battery. So I'm trying to figure it out some way. I don't know. Next. So this was again a journey wherein I started with this project initially. Next. Then it somewhere ended like this. This was the second model of that same thing, and finally we ended somewhere like this. This was the end product like this. Across like 9 to 10 months we were into a phase where we developed 3 models of that same thing, and like my words, the journey was very painful. But now looking over this, I feel that I would have done this in a much better way if I was back then. And none of our professors showed interest in this. Yet, even some professors try to convince me that this won't work. Because there is a locking mechanism involved in it. There is a 4-bar link mechanism in theory of machine that if there is one link constant, you can move the 2 links, keeping the one as a slider, one is slider and one is conveyor, one is fixed and another one is providing motion, and because of these two, other 2 are moving. There's this one link. So what we did, in this all 4 links are moving. But the steady part is we have restricted the motion of these first 2 links. That was the key role what we did. We didn't made a lot of things. We just used this small thing. Next. This was another design of mine where I made a device for air layering, for just gardening work. But because air layering for a common man, it's not very easy and it requires a lot of skill. Even if you tear a little pinch more, or like 0.01 mm of in the xylem tissue or that stick, the layer won't survive. So this was especially done for this seedless lemons, and it was tested well. And this happened to be then again an issue of conflict that I don't want to discuss. Next, I'll end up my thoughts for whatever lecture saying just one thing, like do whatever you want, anything, right? Let it be even how Raj said, starting from 0, whatever it is. But make sure whatever you take a decision for yourself, prove it to yourself that you are right, not to anyone else. Thanks.